Hey, welcome. We're about to jump into a hidden world that's, well, it's closer than you think. In fact, it's on you and inside you right this second. Today, we are exploring the secret world of your skin microbiome.
The poet Walt Whitman once wrote, "I am large. I contain multitudes." Now, you're probably thinking he was talking about the human spirit, all our complex thoughts and feelings. But what if he was also, without even knowing it, describing our biology in the most literal way possible?
Because it's true. And get this, because this might be one of the most surprising things you hear all day. From a cellular point of view, you are not 100% human. I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it is a fundamental scientific fact.
Okay, just look at this breakdown. Some scientists estimate that for every single human cell that makes you, there's roughly one bacterial cell just along for the ride. This means we're not just individuals. We're what's known as a superorganism. We're basically walking, talking ecosystems.
So yeah, let's dive into that mind-bending idea a little deeper. Section 1. You are an ecosystem. We tend to think of our skin as this simple covering, right? A shield. But the reality is so much more interesting. It's a living, breathing landscape. Okay, quick sidebar. We got to get two key terms straight because you'll hear them a lot. The microbiota, that refers to the actual organisms themselves, the bacteria, the fungi. Think of them as the tiny residents. The microbiome, on the other hand, is all of their genes, their entire genetic toolkit. So it's the difference between who is living there and what they're capable of doing. A pioneering scientist named Mary Marples came up with this brilliant analogy way back in 1969. She said, "Think of our skin like soil." It makes perfect sense. Both have this big, non-living structure that is just teeming with life. And the densest spots of life, they're clustered around structures like our hair follicles, which are kind of like the plant roots of our skin's ecosystem. All right, so who are these microscopic residents living in the soil of our skin? Let's take a quick tour and meet a few of them. Section 2, meet your microbial residents. And just to give you an idea of how diverse we're talking about, listen to this. You don't have to travel the globe to see different climates. As Mary Marples pointed out, the environment in your armpit can be as different from your back as a rainforest is from a desert. Wild, right? So just think of your body as a map with all these different ecological zones. You've got the oily places, like your forehead, where certain oil-loving bacteria just thrive. Then you have the warm, humid rainforests of your armpits, where a totally different community sets up shop. And then across the vast, dry deserts of your forearms, you've got another unique mix of residents. It's literally a microscopic safari on your own body. But here's the thing, these microbes aren't just chilling out. They're not passive hitchhikers. They're active partners in keeping us healthy, forming this living protective shield. So let's move to section 3 and see how they do it. A delicate living shield. So what exactly is their day job? Well, a lot, actually. They're like bouncers at a club, taking up all the space so dangerous pathogens can't get in. They even produce their own antimicrobial weapons to fight off the bad guys. And get this, they help train our immune system, they keep our skin at the right pH, and they're a key part of our skin barrier. They are literally our first line of defense. And these microbes don't just live as individuals. They build entire neighborhoods right on your skin called biofilms. It's kind of like they're building little cities. First, a few pioneers show up and attach to the surface. Then, they start to grow and multiply, creating this protective slime matrix that holds the whole community together. And eventually, some residents will pack up and leave to go start a new colony somewhere else on your skin. Okay, so this whole system, it's this beautiful, delicate balance. But what happens when that balance gets thrown completely out of whack? This is where our story takes a turn. Section 4. When good microbes go bad. Well, there's a word for that. Dysbiosis. It's just a scientific way of saying the ecosystem is in chaos. This can happen when you lose the good guys, or when some of the more harmful microbes start to multiply and take over the whole neighborhood. And believe me, this isn't some abstract science-y concept. Dysbiosis is now directly linked to a ton of common skin conditions that you've definitely heard of, like atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, and acne. When the ecosystem is imbalanced, the bad microbes can run wild, and that can trigger our own immune system to cause all the inflammation, redness, and irritation we see. The health of that tiny ecosystem is directly tied to the health of our skin. Okay, look, let's take atopic dermatitis, or eczema.
as a perfect example. This chart is tracking a bad guy bacterium called Staphylococcus aureus. See that first bar? On healthy skin, its population is super low, kept in check by the good microbes. But now look at that middle bar. That's during a flare-up. The population of this one bacteria absolutely explodes. This is dysbiosis, right there in a picture.
So just understanding this is a huge deal. But the next question is obvious. What can we actually do about it? How is all this new science changing things for us? And that brings us to our final section, the future of skincare. Right? This is the big question. We have all this incredible science pouring out of labs. So how does it actually show up in the cleansers and creams that you and I see on the shelf?
You have definitely seen these words on bottles, right? Probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics. Here's a super simple way to think about it. Imagine the good microbes are your workers. Probiotics are the actual live workers themselves. Prebiotics are their packed lunch. It's the special food that helps those good workers do their job. And postbiotics, those are the valuable tools and things that the workers create, all the beneficial stuff that directly helps our skin. But of course, it's not quite that simple. You can't just, dump some bacteria into a cream and call it a day. The cosmetics industry has some pretty big challenges to figure out. Making sure these products are safe and stable, getting through all the complex regulations, and, this one's a biggie, actually backing up their marketing claims with real, solid science. And that brings us to the final big idea, and it's some real food for thought. All of this research kind of forces us to connect the dots, to see the link between the health of our own tiny personal ecosystems and the health of the much, much larger ecosystem of our planet. Maybe the dysbiosis on our skin is a tiny reflection of a much wider imbalance. It's a powerful reminder that we really are ecosystems living within an ecosystem.